Are you ready for the future?
We're celebrating 52 years of family fun. The Sun Fun edition of Carolina Peoples coming up next. Good morning. Welcome back to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce. We're focused on the 52nd Annual Sun Fun Festival, and we're visiting with Carson Benton, co-owner of C.L. Benton & Sons. Good morning, Carson.
Good morning.
Thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Incredible opportunity to highlight all the events that kick off tomorrow night.
It's going to be great. The Sun Fun Festival is a great festival for South Carolina, and especially for the Grand Strand, and we always look forward to the opening of summer.
Absolutely. And this really kicks off the summer.
It does. I mean, the kids get out of school and come down and enjoy the week, and we're just part of the kickoff with them, I guess.
Absolutely. It was so exciting here in Master Sergeant Drexel yesterday, talk about the Thunderbirds coming in and the pilots coming out to the schools a day after tomorrow on Friday to visit with maintenance people, to have an interaction with the kids to remind them what all both the Air Force is about, but what all the Sun Fun Festival is about.
Yeah, I mean, the air show is obviously the icon of the festival, the biggest event that we have here, but I mean, there are a lot of other events that take place also, but the Air Force is very involved. They're great to work with, and we've enjoyed having them throughout the years, and it's great to have them back for the first time, I guess, in probably 7 or 8 years. I'm not
Quite
sure
a while.
exactly.
Absolutely. Carson, can we talk about your family's history here in Myrtle Beach, and who is the CL of C.L. Benton, and who are the sons?
Actually, my grandfather's name was Casper Leon. That's where the C.L. Benton came from. And my dad and his brother were the sons. So actually, my brother and I now are the third generation involved in C.L. Benton Sons, and that's how the name got started. And my grandfather moved here around the turn of the century, 1900, and built Pine Lakes Country Club for Mr. White, and that's how he got started. And he was a developer and a builder. Built Highway 17 through Myrtle Beach, so he was involved in a lot of the major projects back in that era.
Wow, absolutely.
He was a great guy.
When you think about growing up and being a year-round resident of Myrtle Beach, Carson, what has that been like for you?
Well, I'm 45 years old, so I've been around a little while. Born and raised here. Myrtle Beach has grown so much and changed a lot, and I think it's a great town. The area seems to be more tourist-oriented today than it used to be. Back in the old days, the beach rolled up on October, the 1st of October. Everybody went home, and you had a little small population of people that lived here. Now it's a 12-month type industry, and a lot of people participate. So Myrtle Beach has grown, and it's changed my lifestyle and everyone that lives here. We're all on a faster pace of life today than we used to be, and we've seen Myrtle Beach just blossom. Absolutely.
And you and Lawton were involved. You and your brother Lawton were involved in the company as youngsters.
Oh yeah. My father, he raised us to. We had to work. All our lives, and which I don't blame him. He got some pretty cheap labor. But no, he raised us to understand what work was in life, and how to respect people and do things, and he taught us a lot. So summers out of college we had to work, and in the summers during high school we had to work as well. So,
wow.
But it was fun.
When we think about when you talk about working, the work y'all were doing has impacted the Strand so dramatically, along with a number of other companies here at the beach. When we think about some of the projects that C.L. Benton has undertaken that have really helped reshape Myrtle Beach, what are some of the 4 or 5 things that come straight to the top of your head?
A lot of the golf courses. Obviously we're a golf course, Mecca type resort area. We've built numerous golf courses throughout the area: Tidewater, Wachasaw, Arrowhead Country Club, and those are big items. And then we have Broadway at the beach. That was a big impact to the area. Barefoot Landing was a big impact to the area. So those are probably the main ones that I would say that were had an impact to the area.
For viewers who may not be familiar with the company, when you and your brother took over, or when you took over and your brother came in, when did that occur, and how was that transition?
Well, I graduated from college in 1981, and then he graduated in '82. I came in and worked a year prior to him finishing at Clemson. We both graduated from Clemson, and then he got out, and I got my Clemson on.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
But anyway, we both got together. My father had a little small company at that time, probably 35 employees. He and I were, full of eager, I guess, and we made the company grow to probably around 100 employees in a year. My father was really nervous with us.
Yeah.
But, we just had, big visions and ambition, and we just, Myrtle Beach at that time was actually in an explosive development mode. There were a whole lot of projects going on, and we just had to grow and to meet that need. And we've since scaled back slightly, but the current economy, Myrtle Beach's economy is really well right now, and from a development standpoint anyway, we've hired probably 30 new people in the last 6 months.
Wow.
So we're still, Myrtle Beach in the development side is doing well. We're fortunate to be in this economy. Myrtle Beach doesn't struggle like the rest of the country possibly at times. People seem to come spend a little money with us and support it.
Not being so reliant on airplanes as well.
That's correct. I mean, we're in the center of the country, so on the East Coast, but you can travel to us by automobile and don't depend on other transportation means.
Right. Not that we don't want planes coming in, and a lot of them, but a heck of a lot of cars coming here. 13.5 million folks a year. There's got to be a lot of vehicles driving.
Absolutely, and that's improved. I mean, our road system has grown. As you hear on the news all the time, debates about whether to build this road or what roads, and it's helped our economy. Obviously, it's going to help it. It's opened up a tremendous amount of real estate throughout the western part of the county, of the New Carolina-based Parkway and Highway 22, and then the new I-73. If they can get those negotiations worked out, I think that would be a tremendous asset to this area. So, transportation by automobile is going to be important to us forever, and if we can get these roads all completed, it would be an asset.
Absolutely, and Dennis talked about that just a second ago. You and your family have a history of community involvement, Carson. Who inspired that commitment?
Well, my father, my brother, and I have always been involved in the community. He taught us that. He felt like that if you get involved with organizations, you make friends, you make business contacts, and playing golf is a good way to do it. But also being a volunteer and involving yourself in the community, you usually get a return on your investment of time and money if you do invest money in it. But just putting blood, sweat, and tears in your community, you usually return some type of investment.
Absolutely. We've seen that on a day-to-day basis, and that's what we're focused on today. Something kicks off tomorrow, and all the time you put into this and the commitment you've made to the Sun Fun Festival, such a big deal. What prompted your original participation, Carson?
Well, Marilyn Chewning, she's a vice president, I guess, of the chamber. She's over the festivals. And she contacted me in 1987 and asked me to get involved. And anyway, I got suckered in, I guess. But anyway, I enjoyed it. Marilyn's a great lady to work with. I came in and got involved, chaired the Myrtle Beach events, and did that for a large number of years. And then I became chairman of the festival. And you know, it's just been it's a good organization. It's a great group of people to work with, and you know, you feel needed and wanted in the organization, and you're delegated a lot of authority to do things. And I mean, you have guidelines, but you also have that delegation and expect you to get it done.
Right. And you come in at all levels, at a first-level volunteer back in '87, to being an active sponsor as well as being a chairman of the whole kit and caboodle.
Right. I mean, I'm not as active today as I have in the past, but Marilyn, you know, Marilyn says that she'd like me to stay on, so I stayed on with her, and I help. You know, I help her in securing sponsors, which I'm a sponsor, my companies are, and you know, raising money for the festival is important, and I can spend time with people in businesses that, you know, help raise money for it.
Absolutely.
And that helps.
Absolutely. Carson, why do you think the Sun Fun Festival is an important event for Myrtle Beach?
I think Myrtle Beach is classified as a fun town. I consider it a very fun town. We got a great asset. We got beautiful beaches, and our beaches has just always been known for a fun time place. And the Sun Fun Festival is a fun time festival. You know, we have beauty queens, the airplanes, the watermelon eating contest. You know, it's just a lot of fun, and it just lends itself to our environment of a good time. And I think it's really important to start our summer off with it.
Absolutely. When you think of those good times, 16 years ago, Marilyn, pulling you in, as you say, suckered in, but and I know you're kidding with that. There's been so many thrills of being involved. Can you think of some particular moments in your association that stand out in your memory?
I guess, you know, well, actually, the first year I was chairman of the Sun Fun Festival, which wasn't a highlight. It was the first year the parade was ever rained out. That's what you get for getting a contractor involved, I guess. But anyway, that was a downside, I guess, and it does stick out in my head, in my mind. But you know, having an air show, getting away from the military when the military base closed, we pursued continuing the air shows, and actually it died down. We didn't even have one for a while, and I brought it back to Maryland, and we resurrected that issue, and you know, we were able to get the Blue Angels back, the very first air show we had, starting it back up, and that was a great thing to get the military back involved, even though they lost their presence locally. And so the air show I would say would be I think would be the greatest thing I've seen happen in my tenure here.
And is that the one particular event you're really looking forward to for the whole thing, or?
It is. So you know, the Thunderbirds are you know, coming back for Saturday, and I think this is probably the first time. I don't know how many years they haven't performed, but it's been a while, and to have them come back, and they were always kind of you know, Sun Fun, Thunderbirds, they always went together, because when the military was here, they had that air show, and you know, to have them back is a great thing, because they are very good performers, and everybody loves and enjoys watching them. You know?
Absolutely, and we'll all be doing that. Inspired by his father and his brother, and so many others in the Benton family have given so much back to the community, but the inspiration had to start at an early age. Carson, thanks so much for being with us this morning. Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Stay tuned to more Carolina People coming up next. Good morning. Welcome back to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce. We're focused on the 52nd Annual Sun Fun Festival, and we're visiting with Marilyn Chewning, the Vice President of Community Programs and Events here at the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce. Good morning, Marilyn.
Good morning, Greg.
Thanks so much for being with us this morning. Thank you so much for helping to spearhead the entire week. You and Lance together have lined up an amazing litany of guests here, and we've been so excited Monday, Tuesday, and now today, the middle of the week, and can't wait. The event kicks off tomorrow night.
That's right, but we have a great bank of volunteers that help us, so just the two of us, we can't do it alone, but we have, I would say, probably 900 to 1,000 people that work on this festival altogether.
All that many volunteers?
That many volunteers, because we have a lot of civic club groups that get involved,
right? And
then the individuals, and then the different ones, just like the Lions Club members that help us direct the parade, the Pilot Club in North Myrtle Beach that do the beach games for the children. There are several in the South Strand, the Sons of Italy, the Moose Club. So there's a lot of different ones that get involved in this.
I heard Holly talk a little bit about that on Monday, but I couldn't even believe her. To hear it now twice, I guess we got to take that for the real thing.
That's true. And the other thing, just in the parade alone, there's probably 1,000 people just participating in the parade. You count all the numbers of the bands and the different units and the drivers and people are on the floats. So we have a lot of people to keep going in the right direction.
Absolutely. And you all have maxed out at 100 units, 100 different groups participating in the parade.
That's true. This is the first time we've gotten to 100 units in several years, so we're real pleased about that. We have a good variety of people. I'm sure Holly's gone over all of that. And so, but we have a good variety of those units in the parade.
Absolutely, Marilyn. You have been at the Chamber how long? Do you mind me asking?
Not at all. About 32 years.
32 years?
That's correct.
Son of a gun.
I've been here 30 years full-time, and I worked 2 years part-time before I started.
That is
on
amazing.
Full-time staff.
So obviously today where we're focused on Ashby Ward, someone you spent a lot of time with, as well you spent a good bit of time with his predecessor. That's
correct. I was one of 2 employees still left here that had the opportunity to work with Fred Brinkman and Mr. Ward. Fred Brinkman was a micromanager. He liked to be involved in every little detail. When Mr. Ward came along, he was the type of person that would expect you to do your job and give you a lot of freedom to do your job. So it was a big change on learning how to work.
Marilyn, when did you meet Ashby for the first time? Was it his first day here, or had you met him prior?
It's really kind of funny. It was his interview, and we were in the old building at 1300 North Kings Highway. And I was going out the door to meet a friend for lunch, and just as I went out the door, he was coming in and almost knocked him down. And when I got out the door, my friend said, "Do you know who that was?" And I said, "No." She said, "That's Ashby Ward, your new boss."
That's a memory you'd never forget.
I'll never forget that.
And that's your first, but your first impression of him, besides knocking him down, was, I guess, coming back later on.
Well, the first impression I had was we went to a meeting because he came on board in March, I believe it was, in 1974. And, of course, we were in the planning of our festivals, Canadian American Days Festival and the Sun Fun Festival. And the first big meeting that he went with me to was to negotiate plans for a Sun Fun host hotel. And he just sat there and waited for me to, ask all the questions and make all the plans and everything. And so finally, when we got out of there, he said, "Well, that was easy." And I said, "Mr. Ward, I've never done this before. I thought you should be asking the questions." And he was always so surprised that I didn't know what I was doing.
Wow.
Because, see, I had just been promoted to that position, so that was my first big festival.
Well, you obviously asked all the right questions because the hotels have continued to commit so many years, and so even back in 1974.
That's true. We've had great support from our members. Without them, we couldn't do it because with the cash and in-kind sponsorships, that it continues to grow, and we continue to get support from them.
Marilyn, real quick about Ashby, what had he done prior to his appointment as the president and CEO here?
Well, he was at actually in Hugo. He was a DJ here at a station in Myrtle Beach, and then he also went to a TV station in Florence. He was there. He had a show called Captain Ashby. I'm sure everybody remembers that. But I think when he came here, he had been with South Carolina Educational TV in Columbia. So he had a lot of experience in broadcasting, and that's why he was always so willing to talk to the media, because he had great experience and great empathy for their job and what they had to do.
Picked up a lot of free publicity for the area.
He certainly did.
For those connections, I'm sure. Last year was such a big year for Ashby and for the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce and our entire community. And when you think about, I think he received the Order of the Palmetto, the highest civilian honor provided by the governor of South Carolina. I think the new Welcome Center on 501 outside of Aner there was named, the Myrtle Beach Area Welcome Center was named in his honor, which is a huge deal. That was a huge deal. How did he feel about, what were his reaction to all these amazing tributes?
He was totally surprised, and he was just in awe that he was receiving all these accolades. And the Welcome Center, the board, that was the best kept secret I think they'd ever had. They did not tell him or any of the staff that they were going to do that until the groundbreaking ceremony when they announced it. And he was just so shocked. But his comment was, people don't usually receive these types of accolades until they're dead. And I said to him, well, isn't it great to be able to know that people care about you and love you and support you while you're living? And I think it's great that people get that recognition when they're living.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Those are great words. When we think about, and this year, just recently, the Travel Channel has recognized Myrtle Beach one of the top 10 beaches in America. How do you think Ashby would have responded to that?
Oh, I think he would have been extremely pleased and expected, because he was so high on Myrtle Beach and this area. He loved this part of the country. He loved Myrtle Beach and the Grand Strand and put his heart and soul into it. So I think he would have been extremely disappointed if we hadn't been in there. It was kind of funny because when I heard that, I heard it announced on talk radio when coming to work that morning, and I think Debbie said, I bet Ashby Ward wrote that script before he died. Because it sounded so like Ashby Ward.
Wow. Marilyn. Can you talk real quick for some of the viewers who may not have been familiar with them? The bulk of our viewers are in the PD and in southeastern North Carolina. For viewers who may not have come in regular contact with Ashby Ward, can you tell us some of the projects that he spearheaded that have played a part in shaping Myrtle Beach and the Grand Strand?
Well, he was one of the main authors of the ATAX law legislation that's in effect today. He was one of the authors of that, and also really spearheaded that in helping to develop the compromise with the upstate and the people the areas that didn't have hotels. Mm-hmm. So he was very big in that. He was very big in the I-73 corridor and getting that through. And I think there's a big push to hopefully name the corridor in South Carolina after him. But just things like that. He had his hand in a lot of things as far as tourism for the whole state, because he felt that what affected the state affected Myrtle Beach, what affected Myrtle Beach area affected the state. And so he was very, very much interested in anything that affected the whole state. And also, people in the government, from the governor on down, would call him on a daily basis asking his advice or how we should approach this or how we should approach that for the state. So not just the local people will miss that, but just statewide. Mm-hmm.
Marilyn, we got about 3 minutes, and we think today is the day before Sun Fund kicks off. This is the 52nd annual. He came to the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce in 1974, almost 30 years ago.
That's right.
The festival was 20 years already running, and he was able to take. Did he take active part in the festival?
He certainly did. There was a lot of things going on then that we don't do now. But, for instance, we used to do a human checkers game, and we'd always have him call the numbers. We'd have the chairman and the Sun Fund playing checkers, and he'd always have to be the one to call. Because he had such a good voice, and, it really worked out great. But he would do things like that. He would. He's even driven a car in the parade before, way back in the early years when we needed it. So just wherever we needed it, he'd help me write the script for the mayor's luncheon and things like that. But he was very much involved.
Marilyn, do you have a favorite story or memory other than knocking him down his first day on the job? Any favorite stories that you have?
Well, there's a lot of them, but he used to smoke a pipe all the time, and we used to tease him about that. And I remember looking back at some old minutes where he would get so upset if people would turn the coffee pot off, because he drank a lot of coffee. Anybody that knew him knew he drank a lot of coffee. But he'd get so upset if they'd turn the coffee pot off, and there would be no coffee when he'd go get coffee. But one of the things I would like to say that, as I said earlier, he was not a micromanager. He expected you to do your job and keep him informed. He gave us a lot of freedom to do our job. And that's the position the staff has taken today, is continue on to make him proud, because his biggest accomplishment, he felt, was his contribution. I think that he felt was his contribution to helping this organization grow. And certainly he did that. There was a Vision 2000 committee that studied about where the organization was going, where they wanted it to go. And I think if you look at those reports versus the organization today, you know that he met those goals.
So he helped position the Chamber's future even before.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
He was a very dignified man. In a way, he was a very private man, I think. But he very much cared about this community, this organization, took great pride in it, and he certainly couldn't understand why anyone would not want to join the Chamber of Commerce, because it was such a great organization. And even though people look at us and think it's a building and the staff, it's not. It's a group of community people getting together, co-opting their efforts, and making the whole town grow. And he was very proud of that, and he really wanted that to happen, and everyone kind of join efforts.
We heard Marilyn Chewning say it. She's been here 32 years. Ashley Ward's first day on the job, she almost knocked him down. That's a memory that we'll take with us, that she's surely taken with her, and the thrill of seeing a caring man who cared a lot about his community, dignified, albeit also private. It's a great way to celebrate family fun, which is what we'll be doing kicking off tomorrow night.
Exactly.
Marilyn, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
You're quite welcome. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Stay tuned to more Carolina People coming up next. We want to thank Carson Benton and Marilyn Chewning for giving us a stroll down memory lane with the late Ashby Ward.